Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone.
Have you ever walked into a room for the very first time and felt your whole body go still? Not because something was wrong, because something felt too right, too familiar. Like you'd stood in that exact spot before, breathed that exact air, heard that exact laugh from across the room. Nothing dramatic happens. No one says anything strange. And yet, for 3 or 4 seconds, your mind whispers something that feels more certain than almost anything you've ever known. I have lived this moment already. That whisper has a name, Deja vu. And today, we're going to sit with it gently and ask the question most of us are too rushed to ask. What is my mind actually trying to tell me in that moment? Because here is the truth I want you to carry into this video. Nearly 2 out of every 3 people on this planet will feel this at some point in their lives. You are not broken. You are not haunted. You are human, doing exactly what a human mind does when it stretches at the edges of its own memory. And here's the detail that quietly changes everything. Children almost never experience déjà vu before the age of 8 or 9. It rises like a tide through our teenage years and our 20s. And then, slowly, gently, it recedes as we grow older. That single fact is a map. It tells us déjà vu isn't a supernatural visitor. It's a fingerprint of how our brain is built and how it grows. So let's ask the real question together. What is happening inside the 3 pounds of tissue behind your eyes that can turn a brand new moment into something that feels like an old memory? I'm here to walk through that with you, the way I try to walk through everything on this channel, with curiosity instead of fear and warmth instead of judgment. Before we go further, if this kind of gentle deep dive into your own mind is something you crave, take a second and subscribe. It helps this channel keep showing up for you. For most of human history, we didn't have language for this feeling beyond mysticism. Long before brain scanners, déjà vu belonged to fortune tellers, mystics, and people who swore they were remembering a past life. It was a French scholar in the late 1800s who finally gave this feeling a name, déjà vu, already seen. But naming something isn't the same as understanding it. For over a century, we had a word for the feeling, and almost no real answer for the mechanism behind it. And here's why. Déjà vu is one of the hardest things in the world to study, honestly. If scientists want to study sleep, they simply wait for a volunteer to drift off. If they want to study a racing heart, they ask someone to run. But déjà vu doesn't wait for permission. It arrives uninvited, it disappears in seconds, and it leaves no fever, no visible sign, nothing a machine can point to from the outside. You cannot ask someone to lie inside an MRI machine and simply summon déjà vu on command. That mystery is exactly why, at one point, there were more than 40 competing theories trying to explain it. Some said it was a memory bleeding through from a past life. Some said it was a forgotten dream finally catching up to reality. Some even believed the soul quietly slipped away during sleep, visited the future, and returned with a memory your waking mind wasn't supposed to have yet. But modern psychology asked a gentler, more grounded question. Instead of asking, did I live this before, in another life? Researchers began asking, what inside my own memory system could create the feeling of familiarity, even when there is no real memory to back it up? That single shift in the question changed everything. Because it told us this, déjà vu isn't a haunting. It's a small, ordinary glitch in a system that is working for one brief moment, just a little out of rhythm with itself. From there, 3 major explanations rose to the surface. Let's walk through each one together. The first explanation is called dual processing theory, and at its heart, it's beautifully simple. Picture your brain as a live broadcast studio, running 2 camera feeds at once, every single moment you're awake. Camera 1 is asking, what am I seeing right now? Camera 2 is quietly cross-checking, have I seen this before? Imagine you step into a small coffee shop in Lisbon for the very first time, and a ceramic cup slips off the counter and shatters. Normally, both cameras stay in perfect sync. Camera 1 says, this is new. This is happening now. Camera 2 says, no match found. You feel nothing unusual. But according to this theory, when you're exhausted, stressed, or simply running on a tired nervous system, those two camera feeds can fall out of sync, sometimes by only a few milliseconds. The signal meant for memory storage arrives just slightly ahead of the signal meant for present moment awareness. So the image of that shattering cup gets quietly filed away as the past before your conscious mind has even finished registering it as right now. A split second later, when your awareness finally catches up and checks memory storage, the data is already sitting there. And your brain, doing exactly what it's built to do, concludes, this already happened. You've been quietly fooled by your own timing. But I want to be honest with you, because this theory has real gaps. It doesn't explain why déjà vu almost never happens in your own kitchen, at your own table, in the places you already know by heart. If it were purely a timing glitch, it should happen randomly, constantly, everywhere. And it doesn't explain why. In that moment, your mind doesn't just feel familiar. It builds an entire, vivid, convincing scene around that feeling, which brings us to the second explanation. Your brain doesn't store a memory as one single, whole block, the way you'd save a photograph. It shatters memories into fragments. Color, sound, texture, scent, and scatters them across your mind like pieces of a hologram. This means your brain doesn't need the entire old scene to trigger a memory. Sometimes, one tiny fragment is enough to light up the whole feeling. Picture this. You walk into a small family-run restaurant in Marrakech you have never once set foot in. And out of nowhere, a wave of familiarity rushes over you. You can't explain it. But hidden in that moment is one small detail your conscious mind never noticed. The woven pattern on the tablecloth is almost identical to the one that sat on your childhood kitchen table 15 years ago. The instant your eyes pass over that pattern, a deep part of your brain recognizes the match and lights up with a feeling of familiarity. But here's where the glitch happens. Your brain sends out that signal of, I know this, far faster than it can locate where it knows it from. So you're left floating in a strange, unanchored feeling, certainty with no evidence to explain it. And because your mind cannot bear an unanswered question, it does something remarkable. It takes that floating feeling of familiarity and stretches it over the entire restaurant in front of you instead of the one tablecloth that actually deserved it. You walk away convinced you've been there before. In truth, your mind was simply trying to stitch a torn piece of memory back together, and it grabbed the nearest whole scene to patch the hole. And now, the third theory, the one I think speaks most directly to how we live today. We like to believe we are fully aware of everything happening around us, that if we didn't consciously notice something, it simply didn't register. That belief is not true, not even a little. Picture this. You walk into a boutique hotel lobby in Kyoto to wait for a colleague. The moment you step through the door, your phone buzzes with an urgent message from work. Your whole nervous system snaps to attention. You lower your head and start typing furiously, completely absorbed in that 6-inch screen. But while your conscious mind is buried in that message, your brain never actually stopped working. Like a quiet security camera running in the background, your peripheral awareness has already scanned the entire lobby. The low amber lighting, the soft Kodo music playing overhead, the receptionist's pale blue uniform. All of it gets silently filed into implicit memory, without your permission, without your knowledge. 2 minutes later, you lift your head. This is, as far as your conscious mind is concerned, the first time you're truly seeing this room, and a wave of déjà vu crashes over you, complete with chills down your spine. The explanation is almost embarrassingly simple. You already saw it. Your brain recorded that entire scene 120 seconds ago. Your conscious mind simply wasn't in the room yet. That gap between what your unconscious mind absorbed and what your conscious mind finally noticed is enough to manufacture one of the most convincing illusions your brain can produce. So which of these three explanations is actually true? For that, we have to travel to the research of Dr. Cleary, a cognitive psychologist at Colorado State University, who did something once considered nearly impossible. She found a way to recreate déjà vu, safely, inside a lab. Her breakthrough came from noticing how similar déjà vu feels to another familiar sensation, the tip of the tongue feeling. You know it. You see an actor's face and you know their name. It's right there, but you cannot pull it out. Deja vu works almost identically. You are certain you know this place, but you cannot locate the original memory behind it. Dr. Cleary believed the real trigger behind deja vu was spatial familiarity, not specific memories. So in 2012, she built dozens of detailed virtual reality environments. Some looked completely different on the surface, but shared the exact same underlying spatial layout. The same hallways, the same turns, the same distances between walls. She had volunteers explore a virtual aquarium, complete with slanted pillars and a dividing wall down the middle. Days later, she brought them back and placed them inside a completely different-looking scene, an office reception area with entirely different furniture, colors, and lighting. But the geometry, the bones of the space, matched the aquarium exactly. The results were striking. Even though the volunteers had no conscious memory of the aquarium's layout, they overwhelmingly reported déjà vu the moment they entered the reception area. Their brains had recognized the underlying spatial structure without being able to name where they'd seen it before. And here's the twist that changed the whole conversation. When Dr. Cleary placed some volunteers back into the exact same scene they had already experienced, and they were certain it was brand new to them, their déjà vu rate spiked even higher. Which tells us something profound. Sometimes, déjà vu isn't a glitch at all. Sometimes, we genuinely have lived through a version of that moment before. Our mind simply misplaced the memory, and déjà vu is it quietly resurfacing without its label. I want to pause here and be gentle but honest with you, because this matters. If déjà vu visits you occasionally, a handful of times a year, maybe alongside that little muscle jolt some of us feel right before falling asleep, you are completely, entirely normal. That's simply a nervous system doing its ordinary, imperfect work. But for a small number of people, déjà vu isn't occasional. It's constant, multiple times a day, every day. Doctors call this chronic déjà vu. And when they scan the brains of people who experience it this often, they frequently find something happening in the temporal lobe, the region responsible for long-term memory, sometimes linked to epilepsy or other neurological activity. In these cases, the brain's familiarity signal fires again and again, even in the presence of something brand new. If this sounds like your experience, please talk to a doctor. You deserve real answers, not just reassurance from a video. But there's one more layer to this feeling that I think is the most fascinating and the most humbling. Many people don't just feel déjà vu as familiarity. They feel it as prophecy. A certainty that they know exactly what happens next. Picture yourself settling into a window seat on a long-haul flight for the very first time. As the plane lifts off, déjà vu washes over you. The lighting, the hum of the engine, the pattern of the seats, all impossibly familiar. And then comes the strangest part. You feel absolutely certain that the flight attendant is about to step out and say a specific phrase in a specific tone before she even opens her mouth. Dr. Cleary tested this exact feeling in her lab. She built virtual hallways with matching layouts, and right as a volunteer approached a turn identical to one they'd unconsciously seen before, she paused the simulation and asked them, "Do you feel certain which direction comes next?" Emotionally, people were almost entirely convinced. They rated their confidence sky high. Psychologically, they felt like prophets. But when she checked their actual accuracy against reality, it sat right around 50%, exactly what you'd get by flipping a coin. They had no real ability to predict what came next at all. This is what researchers call the déjà vu illusion. Familiarity is deeply tied to our sense of the past, and the past always feels certain, settled, already written. So when your memory system misfires and insists this already happened, your brain makes one small, understandable leap. If this already happened, then I must know what happens next. It's not prophecy. It's your nervous system, borrowing the confidence of memory and lending it, briefly, to the future. So, what is déjà vu, really? Is it a timing mismatch between two systems trying to keep pace with each other? A fragment of memory that lost its context on the way home? An illusion built from a mind that was simply looking somewhere else? The honest answer, the one modern science actually supports, is that it's probably a little of all three. Evolution took a handful of tiny, split-second processing errors and turned them into one of the most quietly fascinating experiences a human mind can offer. We spend so much energy being proud of what our minds can build. Cities, languages, machines that calculate 1 billion things a second. And then, every so often, this 3-pound organ behind our eyes plays a small, elegant trick on the very person carrying it. I don't want you to fear that trick. I want you to meet it with curiosity instead. The philosopher and computer scientist Alan Kay once said the best way to predict the future is to create it. So don't let déjà vu convince you that your life is a script already written, that you're simply replaying scenes from somewhere else. You are not. Your future isn't preloaded. It is built, moment by moment, by the choices you make while you are fully, consciously awake in your own life. The next time déjà vu stops you mid-step, in the middle of a crowded street or a quiet room, I want you to try something different. Don't rush past it. Pause, breathe, and ask yourself gently, was my attention somewhere else a moment ago? Is there a small, forgotten piece of memory quietly calling my name right now? Or did my own nervous system simply blink, just for a second? If this video helped you understand your own mind a little more gently today, that is exactly why this channel exists. Subscribe to Motivational Humanity so you never miss the next journey into the beautiful, complicated architecture of who we are. And I would truly love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments about the déjà vu moment that has stayed with you the longest, the strangest one, the one you still think about. Because every time we understand our minds a little better, we take back a little more of our peace. I am reclaiming my peace.